Hi guys, I'm gonna make another video, and today I'm gonna read chapter 4 of the Minecraft Woodstore Chronicles. Book 2. Alright, chapter 4. Every journey starts with a single step. Every step starts with an electrical impulse in your brain. Before Harper learned to make things, she had learned to take them apart. It was the best way to see how things worked. After all, by the time she graduated from elementary school, Harper had pulled apart a toaster, a vacuum cleaner, 2 laptops, and an old TV. It was done under adult supervision, of course. Not that her parents knew much about electronics. Her mother was a painter, and her father was a sculptor. Miss Houston's specialty was turning trash into objects of beauty. He needed circuit boards and TV coils for his project. So, Harper had been able to help him while satisfying her own curiosity about gadgets. Knowing this did not make it any easier to take apart her own work. But materials were scarce, and she needed redstone dust. The quickest way to get it was to dismantle the lever mechanism she made for the castle front door. Done, she said, and she held up her newest creation for all to see. Morgan recognized it at once. A compass! Good idea, Harper. Jody, however, was skeptical. Are you sure we need it? She asked. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Here, just like in real life. Couldn't we use that to navigate? Ah, but a Minecraft compass is special, said Harper. This will always give us the way to the world's spawn point. The what now? Said Jody. The world's spawn point. It's where we appear on our first date, Morgan explained. Oh, forgot that's the compass in Minecraft. And since we build our castle quite close to that point, we'll always be able to find our way back here, said Jody. Said Harper. Just in case we want to see your sculpture again or our sheep. Yeah, about the sheep, Morgan began. Yes, Harper prodded. Well, I've been wondering, Jody asked. Why are you being so sheepish? Then she laughed at her own joke. Morgan wasn't laughing. But finally he blurted, Do you think maybe we should eat them? The girls gasped. Eat you and beef? Said Harper. We ain't going to need food out there, Morgan said. That means we're probably going to have to get meat from animals. At the girl's shocked look, he added, They're not even real. They're just sparkly pixel and a few random bits of computer code. Sound delicious. Sarcastically, she rubbed her belly for effect. Real or not, we're not eating animals that we've named, Harper said. Or that I give to you as a gift, added Jody. Beef represent our sibling bond. Okay, said Morgan. I'm sorry, I brought it up. But we should bake bread before we leave, and we should gather as many apples as possible while we're exploring. We will need them, and we will need to be smart about who cares what, said Ash. She and Poe were walking toward them. We've just gotten through all our chests and discussed what to take and what to leave behind. I hate to leave anything behind, said Poe, but we can only carry so much. Well, save a slot for this. She held up an iron sword. Ooh, said Poe, that's quite an upgrade. I'm making one for everybody, said Harper. I hope we don't need them, but I'd rather be prepared. So this is Harper holding on. That's iron sword she has. They turned north. They headed north toward the obsidian letters, then turned west toward a range of snow-capped mountains. They decided the mountains would give them a good view. From there, they could decide their next move. They were moving steadily uphill, which meant they had to jump frequently. There were no gentle slopes. Their elevation increased whole blocks at a time. Soon they were high enough that patches of snow appeared on the ground. Every time their path took them by a low tree, they would swipe at the leaves. They were lucky and found several apples in a matter of minutes. That wasn't all they found. Jody, whispered Po. He was trembling with excitement. Jody, look! They all looked where Po was pointing. There. Po was pointing. At first, Harper thought it was a horse. Its neck was too long, though, and its snout too short. It's a llama! Jody squealed. I want the llama. Can we keep it? Po asked. Not quite sure, Harper turned to Morgan. Well, she logged a lot of hours playing Minecraft. She's always been more interested in building than in taming animals. If there was a way to make a llama a pet, Morgan would know. You'll have to hang on while it tries to buck you off, he said. It's tricky. And at this elevation, it could be dangerous if you fall. Jody bounded after the llama anyway, jumping rapidly up the steep mountains. I'll make him love me, she said. You'll see. Don't go too far, Harper warned. The sun had dipped low, even with iron sword. She didn't like their odds of surviving a night in the open. Ash seemed to right her mind. We should set up a little shelter. There's a cave over there. Let's see how deep it goes. As always, they were careful to light a torch as soon as they entered a shadowy cave. The cave was about a dozen blocks deep. It would be a perfect night to set up their beds for the night. I'll go fetch Jody and Po, Ash offered. Okay, Harper. Watch my back, Morgan said. I see some coal. I gathered it for more torches. Use this, Harper said. She handed him an iron pickaxe. The blocks of coal fell away quickly before the tool, and on the other side something green glittered. Oh, wow, Morgan said. I don't believe our luck. He used the pickaxe to break apart the green staked gray block, and a gleaming green jewel appeared. Is that an emerald? Yeah, they're insanely rare. You only find them in mountains. And it's definitely worth using an inventory slot to keep it. Hey guys, Ash said from the mouth of the cave. You should come see this. Oh, here's the emerald they got. Harper exchanged a look with Morgan. She can tell what he was thinking. Please don't let Jody have gotten himself into trouble. I hope the llama didn't start spitting at them, he said. But the llama had gotten away. Jody and Po stood still on the peak of the mountain, looking down at something. Check it out, Po said. Harper peered into the valley beyond the mountains. Situated far below was a small collection of houses. There were farmlands too, and small figures moved about on paths lined with wooden fences. Harper felt a thrill go through her. It's a whole village, she said. We're not alone out there. I'm going to read chapter 5 too, and then we're going to have to return the book to the library, Kitchener Library. Chapter 5. That's part 2. What's their favorite subject? And do they have plans for the weekends? Po couldn't stop thinking about the Minecraft village. They all agreed there wasn't time to explore it before the sun went down. So they logged off for the night and returned to their normal lives. Now it was the following day, and class were moving painfully slow. So that's Po trying to do his test, and he's like feeling glum. Poe wanted to know what surprises await them in the village. There were certainly no surprises on Miss Minerva's pop quiz on a midsummer night's dream. When she announced it was time for a quiz, the rest of the class groaned quietly. Although the bats had been confined to the gym and the classroom vents were sealed tight, Miss Minerva's students still looked at the vents with a shrug. No one wanted to risk setting off another hurricane of bats. Paul didn't mind the quiz, though. He loved Shakespeare. She sometimes shrugged with reading. His mind was always moving in three directions at once. He had focused troubling on long passages about how butter made, or poetic description of sunlight reflecting just so off a tin roof. But Shakespeare wrote plays. A Midsummer Night's Dream was mostly dialogue between characters, plus some speeches called monologues. There were cases of mistaken identity. And one character was transformed into a donkey. Yeah, I think that's a donkey. Poe loved that stuff. He could imagine himself playing any of those roles. He could imagine giving those speeches and feeling what the characters were feeling. He approached gaming like the same way. He didn't just play as himself. As a kid named Po Chen, he imagined himself as a warrior or a wizard or a superhero. It's why he was always trying out new skins in Minecraft. Each one felt like an invitation to be a new person for a little while. With basketball canceled until the bats were dealt with, Poe wondered if he should try out the school play. But would the drama kids accept him? Would the rest of the school? Sometimes Poe worried that people only liked him because he was so good at basketball. What if he tried acting and he wasn't any good at it? Pencils down, class, Miss Minerva said softly. Another small groan rippled through the classroom. Poe looked up to be sure, but the air conditioning vents remained solidly in place. The bats were still in the gym. Then Poe had another day off from basketball practice. Part of him felt guilty about how glad he was. While the rest of the school was barely putting up with the bats, Doc Culpepper used them as an inspiration for a lesson. A huge part of scientist's job is observing. She told the class, "You've all been around these animals. What have you observed about them?" Ash? "Well, they can fly like birds do, but they have fur instead of feathers. They're obviously mammals. "That's right," said Doc, rubbing her hands together. "And like other mammals, they give birth to their live young and nurse them with milk. They don't lay eggs the way birds do." "What else?" "They'll sleep all day," said Jody. Lucky, Poe said. "Correct," said Doc. "They're nocturnal. In other words, they active at night and sleep during the day. If you were to wait in the school parking lot until dusk, you'll see the whole colony flying away from the gymnasium. They will go out at night to hunt bugs to eat." What else, Morgan?" "They're blind," he said. "Is that something you observed?" "Well, no. But there's that saying, blind is bad. Scientists have actually disproven that," explained the teacher. "Bats can see perfectly fine, but many species do use echolocation to navigate and to track down their prey. Does anyone know how echolocation works?" Harper raised her hand. "It's a natural form of sonar," she said. "Bats make sound, and based on how the sound echoes back to them, they're able to perceive details of their environment, even in complete darkness." So that's Harper doing her knowledge. "That's right," said Jock. "And where do bats live?" "At school," Poe said, and most of the class laughed. Fair answer, said the dog. But what's their natural habitat? What? Where are they supposed to live? Do you know, Poe? Poe thought about the bats he seen in Canton. Caves? He guessed. Some bats do live in caves, but there are no caves in the area. So where do our bats come from? What about the park? I read that some bats live in trees. But what are they doing here then? He heard some crazy rumors. Jody had shared her theory with him that morning. He shrugged that Culpepper herself grown the bats in a hidden basement in factory. They were all part of Jock's secret cloning device experiment until they escaped, and then there was Poe's theory about how the bats had somehow traveled to their world from Minecraft. Maybe they hatched right out of that 6 headset. The little bats invading the school was an interesting theory. He wasn't so sure it was the truth, though, and that led him to this question. Why would bats relocate to our school and live in our gym instead of just staying in their natural habitat? Good question, Poe. That is an excellent question for a young scientist to answer. Doc, I hope you all do some research in your spare time. But for now, please clear your desks. It's time for a pop quiz. The whole class groaned loudly. This time, Poe groaned this time. Doc crackled gleefully to himself. For once, Poe thought maybe there was some truth to Jody's mad scientist idea. After all. I really love this book. It's like, I really like this book for some reason. So when I read this book, it's about these 5 characters surviving the night. And if you read this book, you probably know that around the end of the around there's like, they would save bats and, help the mobs. Like, in this book, they help mobs. Like, they help mobs to cross the village. And it was kind of weird, you know. So they're like protecting. These are the zombies. And yeah. So on this chapter, it's chapter 6. There will be a village and villagers. See, there's a villager. This is how a villager look like. You probably know if you watch Minecraft. Villager. No. Villager. And then also, farmers give food to their other villagers. So the farmers give fish, cake, carrot, bread, and watermelon. They give it to their fellow villagers, and they're investigating this. So there's so many villagers. Villagers can also turn evil, and it will be called illagers. And then also the villagers. There's also pillagers. Pillagers attack the villagers, and if the villager turns evil, they'd be illagers, and it'll be like, and they're like a zombie villager. Like, it acts like a zombie. If the zombie gets them, they'll be an illager. Yeah. So, bye. And this is the last day of my book. So, bye. I have to return this book. The Knights of the Bats. Bye.